Thanks for staying with us. We're still going on punch. Go ahead, BC.
Yes, I have a story. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, and the Geneva-based Trade Association representing world airlines are expressing fears that the foreign airlines operating in Nigeria may lose about $200 million due to the exchange rate that is happening, exchange rate depreciation. So the IATA Regional Vice President for Africa and the Middle East, Kamil Al-Wadi, said that the issue of the trapped funds were exacerbated by the depreciation of the naira, and which, we know that has dropped significantly against the dollar. And he's saying that, and there's also the backdrop of the over 700 million foreign airline tickets revenue reportedly still trapped in Nigeria. We know that last week the central bank had said that he paid all the verified debts that they owed the foreign airlines. But IATA replied immediately also saying that they can't say they have paid everything because they have over $700 million still trapped in the system. And, they went ahead to advise local travel agents to find a way to reduce the prices so that Nigerians and other people will be able to buy their tickets. And they explained also that a lot of people are now buying their tickets from other countries, which is taking away the funds that we're supposed to be repatriating into Nigeria based on that. And the complaint is also that the fact that they have about 720 million trapped here, and our naira has depreciated further again by 30%. That means they are losing over 200 million on the money already trapped here, and it's discouraging to their businesses. A lot of them are having to rethink operating in Nigeria and so forth. But that the federal government should plan to reimburse, pay them, make like a monthly or quarterly plan so that they're not waiting till the money is in lump sum, they're paying gradually to get us out of this.
Okay, so many of us remember the Multichoice Nigeria. The FIRS had frozen their account, the Multichoice Nigeria's account in 2022, sold Multichoice Group with 1.8 trillion naira, that's about $1.2 billion tax claim of its Nigeria operation, and a $342 million claim for value-added taxes. So they have since agreed to pay $37 million tax settlement. The Multichoice is the owner of the satellite division DSTV, and Multichoice said in a statement on Thursday that in terms of the agreement, Multichoice Nigeria and Multichoice Africa shall pay a total of $35.4 billion naira, which is about $37 million, to offset the security deposits and good faith payments made to date. So I mean that's probably a good thing at least concerning the settlement.
So I'm taking a story about federal government deploying special military troops into Ekiti. This is based on the security challenges that they've been facing. If we recall, there was the killing of 2 traditional rulers in Okeaku axis that happened last week. Then there was also the same day the incident of school people in Imure Ekiti that were also kidnapped, and the governor had a meeting with the Chief of Army Staff, that's General Taoreed Lagbaja, Chief of Defense Staff Musa Mustafa, and the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. And based on the meeting, they called for deployment of more security operatives into the states. And on Thursday, yesterday, the governor received, the government of Ekiti State received the first batch of troops deployed to the state, and they were seen patrolling major towns. The commander of the 32nd Artillery Brigade in Akure, Brigadier General John La, spoke at the ceremony where they were brought in and said that this will be enhancing the security of lives and property within the state. He said they will be covering the 16 local governments, and they are going to flush out criminal headsmen, kidnappers, and other criminal elements that are wreaking havoc within the states. And we're hoping that this would restore a bit of peace in the hearts of Ekiti people. That's where my mom is from, and well, it's worrisome when you get a mom husband.
Yes, so
we can't afford this.
Here. Okay, Daily Sun, NLCT used to give federal government 14-day ultimatum. Insecurity, we must demand accountability from security chiefs, says Abbas. ECOWAS AU brainstorm on how to bring Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso back. Tinubu, Kalu, Akpabio, others mourn as Asagba Ujogbo die. Domestic airlines dying, AON laments. Lagos goes tough on water regulation, insists on permit for borehole drillers. Food crisis, Tinubu directs immediate release of 102 metric tons of food items. And Edo, INEC confirms primaries notification dates from 16 political parties. Okay.
Yeah, so Lagos State government is reaffirming its position on the issuance of regulatory permits for borehole drillers operating in the state. And they said this is to avoid depletion of groundwater resources and for effective water governance, management, and appropriate regulation by the authorities. So at a stakeholders engagement that was jointly organized by the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources and Lagos State Water Regulatory Commission, the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, said that it's important to release the benefits of consuming clean water. And the consequences of doing otherwise is that the government must protect the water space, particularly the groundwater. So now they want to be giving licenses to borehole drillers. They're calling all borehole drillers to come together. They will put them into classes, Class A and Class B. They want to use data now to find out what they are expected to do, what they are doing, where they are doing it, in order to be able to give them the license, and so that everybody can work together and ensure that we have good water coming out of the ground. And also maybe they will now be testing the areas to know exactly where you put your borehole, especially in the houses, because I know that some people are actually drinking toilet water based on if you see where their sewage is coming out from and where the borehole is.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. Okay, so ECOWAS, all the ministers of foreign affairs across the ECOWAS member states have had a meeting and see what they can do to reconcile, bring back Mali, Burkina Faso, and I think it's Niger back into the fold of the ECOWAS. So they're having several meetings saying that the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Toure, said that the meeting will consider the notifications withdrawal of these 3 member states, saying that stressing that ECOWAS is not an institution but a community. Says despite their collective efforts to create a conducive and peaceful environment for their community citizens, these 3 have asked to leave with immediate effect. So they're going to see how they can have a high-level mediation between them and those 3 countries to see how they can bring them back into the fold. So it's really critical.
So I'm taking the story about the release of food. It was in all the papers, the fact that food hike and food scarcity seem to be everywhere within the country. So the president has had a meeting through representatives with the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria to address the rising food shortage within the country. The Rice Millers Association have agreed to release about 60,000 metric tons of rice. They will make it available. They said that supply should last Nigerians over the next 6 weeks. They've also asked in a special presidential committee on emergency food intervention yesterday, they've agreed to release 42,000 metric tons of maize to be made available and distributed. Then the Ministry of Agriculture is saying that as a last resort, they might need to import food to address the shortage of food within the country. And I'd also reach out to food hoarders. Apparently, some people are buying food or stockpiling food that should be flowing within the market and are keeping it, and it's causing artificial hike in food prices apart from the expected hike in food based on the economic realities. So they say they would deal with the food orders as well. And as soon as the dry season gets underway, there's hope that from the government that the food prices will drop. I think that apart from importing food, most of the challenge is waste that happens between the farm gate and getting to the markets in the major cities. If the government can buy from the farmers, they would be stimulated. If they provide security, farmers will go to the markets, go to their farms and shops. So there are some other smaller things that we can do in interim to ensure there's enough food circulating the Nigerian markets.
Okay, let's find 2 stories we're not taking here. Protests small FG malls food imports if hunger persists. PH, that's Port Harcourt Refinery, to begin operations as Shell supplies 475,000 barrels of oil. NLC TUC issue 14-day nationwide strike notice to federal government. Okay. NLC, did you have NLC?
You took it already.
You took it already. Okay, let's move on now to the Nigerian Tribune. Obviously, there's no story. That's fine. So, what a woman brings to the table is unquantifiable, says Pastor Temitope Olagbegi. 14 abducted passengers of 2 buses in Kogi regain freedom. How threats to food security in Africa can be tackled, says EU and AU experts. Ekiti FG deploys special military troops. Address inflation, poverty, insecurity, food crisis. GNI tells Tinubu and governors. And Rep Speaker gives Nigerians fresh hope on hardship and insecurity.
Yes, so I had taken the story about 14 passengers of the God is Good Transport Service and ABC. You know, they had been abducted. They were coming from the east and they were going to Abuja. They were abducted in Kogi State. As of the report on Thursday, they said 5 p.m. Each and every one of them has been released and they're healed and hearty. There was a spokesperson for them. The person says he cannot confirm if any ransom was paid, but he can confirm that they are all healed and hearty and are on their way to meet their various families.
So airline operators, domestic airline operators this time, are complaining about the harsh operating environment in Nigeria. Said that the cost of Jet A1 is so high, the naira devaluation and the scarcity of foreign exchange is choking the local airline operators within Nigeria out of business. Many of them might be shutting down. They said that there was a proposal made by the Aviation Ground Handling Association of Nigeria that there will be a 400% increase from the 31st of March 2024. And many of the aircrafts, that's from the AON, that's Airline Operators of Nigeria, they said many of the aircrafts are due for checks overseas, sea checks overseas, but they have been unable to access foreign exchange to carry out these checks. And they might have to ground the planes to avoid any complications. They said there's a negative trend that would make domestic flights almost ground to nothing because there'll be no aircraft left for the operation. He said we're now buying fuel at 1,300 per litre, and that's the aviation fuel for 1,300 per litre, that they also need oxygen supplies within the plane. He just listed a lot of the challenges that the local players within the airline industries are facing, that they're making losses factors beyond their control. Handling companies are increasing charges, many things are happening, and people are scared that at one point in time you won't be able to even get any local flights that will be able to take you within Nigeria if intervention isn't carried out to support them.
So the Port Harcourt refinery is set to start operations following the supply of 475,000 barrels of crude oil provided by Shell Petroleum Development Company. So confirming this significant milestone was the, I'm trying to get his name here, but I can't get the name. So, but pretty much the recommendation of crude supply from the Bonny oil is quite significant achievement and a game changer for the industry and country at large. The intensive preparations, collaborations, and dedication of both the teams involved was quite a huge milestone, and we can't wait for this petrol to be available across the country. We don't know how much they'll sell it, but let us even begin to produce ours. This one is not Dangote's one, this is our own.
Prices will sort out.
So foreign, this is not Dangote's, this is our own, 100% Port Harcourt. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, I don't know if they can find crude
into Jet.
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
They may be able to. Let's be
to help us out. Okay, that's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.